So the drawing that I do over the bike looks something like this. This photo of the bike was taken a long time ago. I pop it into the computer, um, and I do like a kind of a grayscale. I take the image and just kind of make it grayed out. And I start drawing all these little components, right? So this should look pretty familiar from what I just drew on the other paper. Got the battery, terminal block, circuit breaker, fuses inline. 13 is the key switch, 9 is the high beam toggle. Got the tail light out back. There's the wires coming down. That's the rear brake light switch, that's 12. There's the neutral switch, the oil pressure switch. There's the ignition, number 6 is the Dyna S ignition. 15 is a regulator, and it's up front on the bike. And you can see here the lines that I'm drawing in plan and preparation for going up the frame tube and out of the frame tube, up to the headlights and warning lights, 17, 19, 7, and 8. I got blow-ups of these, I'll show you in just a second. But what this allows me to do is not only plan like just the components, but then how each one is connected in series. But then not only that, but I can see like which wires are going to be exposed, like not in a frame tube, and which ones are going to be in a frame tube. So any of them that are dashed are somehow concealed inside of a frame tube. Any that are solid are exposed. And I'll shrink tube all the wires that are exposed, because I don't want to see the colors at the end of the day. I just want the colors to be able to wire the bike. But then all those little purple circles, like in here, here, and here, are what I then plan for like where I need to drill the frame. So some of them I need to drill, some of them are already holes. So like this here is the hole at the back of the backbone that's already there on the bike. This one here is the top of the seat post tube. It's already there on the bike. This one, I think there might be a hole that's already there. I gotta see. If not, I gotta drill one. Same with the one up top. Almost positive I gotta drill this one. The bottom of the seat tube is open, and this one's in a frame rail. I gotta drill that guy. And then I can kind of plan out where everything is going, and then even down to, will it focus there? Should be visible. Yeah, there you go. Cloth. So I can plan that these two, the normal brake and the brake light brake wires, I'm going to use Lowbrow Customs cloth covered wire for that, and just leave it exposed and wrap it around the sissy bar. So this allows me to do some additional planning. And then kind of last but not least, I do just some bigger printouts that I can have around the garage and keep track of everything. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in the light, but these are color coded with the types of wire that I have, the spools that I have. And this gives me an idea of, all right, of all these 4 whips, where do I have to run them? Where do I have to place them on the bike? So that's kind of how I start to come up with a wiring diagram. Now, I say all that, but I can tell you right now, this amount of work right here is probably version 7 or 8 of the wiring diagram for this build, for this bike. It does not happen as fast as I just drew it. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of prep. I mean, just in terms of where I even locate the coils would change a lot of things. Because if I did a coil mount that's kind of on the back of the side of the oil tank, that's a pretty popular place to mount the coils, that would change my routing perhaps. If I wanted to do single headlight versus dual, that would change things. If I didn't care about the idiot lights, that would change things. If I wanted to add turn signals in here, that would change things, because I would need another fused circuit here probably at that point, just to feel safe about adding that load. I'd probably, if I did turn signals or horn or any of that, I would probably put the idiot lights and the turn signals and horn on one circuit, and the headlight tail light on another circuit, another fused circuit. And the reason for that is you can make it home without the warning lights or turn signals. If something frays or kinks or grounds out somewhere in the bike and you lose turn signals, you can still make it home safely. If it's dark at night and something frays and you lose headlights, that's a whole nother adventure you'll be on. So when you start adding more and more components, it's not so much about the load, because shoot, these headlights are LED, the tail lights are LED. You can see I was going to run dual taillights. This is one of them that I took apart just because I wanted to see the LED. Like these taillights are LED. All this stuff is going to LED, which is super low load. Like it's not about wire size and amperage these days, at least not in my opinion. A lot of this wiring and how many fuses you put in is really about insurance policy. Like if something does go bad, how much do you want to limit as far as what can prevent you from getting home? I mean, you can imagine if the circuit breaker was the only thing protecting everything, right? And actually the very first bike I built was that way when I bought it, and it was horrible. Like anything that went wrong, the whole bike would just shut down, and I'd have to wait until the circuit breaker resets itself. It's a nightmare. No way to troubleshoot it, no way to identify anyway, yeah, so it's all about, like, okay, as I start to add more and more parts and pieces, how do I want to make sure that I separate the circuits so that if something does go wrong, I can A, easily find it, and B, easily fix it, and C, hopefully still get home that night without pushing it. So that's the wiring diagram process. I'm going to shoot this out and do a separate video that shows the components. I'll get all the components laid out here, so stay tuned for that. As always, hit me up on email if you have any questions. I'd be happy to send this file, the JPEGs, whatever you need to you, if you're curious. And go over to the Instagram page, bpeak82 on Instagram. Give it a like, give it a follow, give it a subscribe. I don't know, whatever those kids are doing over there. And follow along. We'll get this guy running here eventually. Cheers.